What's the word, y'all? Jonah Kuminga now asked for a trade. All right, and I can't say I didn't see it coming. Golden State, let's see. Golden State, Jonah Kuminga has demanded a trade from the Warriors and he become eligible to move Thursday. Sources tell ESPN. Now, look, I ain't saying I knew this was gonna happen. Both parties did not see eye to eye ever since the summer. But one thing I can always say: 11 points per game, 11 points per game, asking to be traded on demand. Now, listen, if you was Trey Young caliber, maybe I could be like, I can see where he going. The team not moving where I want it, but you're not even doing that. You barely come off the bench, and you kind of got cut by Steve Kerr. Now, I understand both parties. Kaminga now is saying that he didn't feel like they wanted him, and sources do show that Steve Kerr said that they wanted what's his name, Frank Wagner from the Magic. Now I can see how that would make some individuals upset, but they paid you. I have to be honest, they paid you, man. They paid you 40. Was it $48 million just to grow, and you can't do. But I'm not mad. One thing I always wanted to show is Kuminga really has a dog in him. But the problem is where he's gonna take it. Now, Bleacher Report said these are the three best fits that we'll have. And honestly, it couldn't get much worse than what he already is. First place the Brooklyn Nets. From Michael Porter Jr., I I don't see it. I really don't see it. Especially with Michael Porter being what he been, the Brooklyn Nets gonna ask for a lot more. And I don't think they just see Jonathan Kuminga as, the sources to be the end all and be all. Let's see this: Jonathan Kuminga, Buddy Hield, Moses Moody, first round pick, and a first round pick swap. If I'm the Brooklyn Nets, you have to add more picks to that. I just don't believe that Jonathan Kuminga could be that anchor for people, and especially for an organization like this. Like we already like a team that don't nobody want to come to because as soon as they come to, they leave. But yeah, Michael Porter Jr. missed of a career year, averaging 25.7 points per game. I didn't even know he was averaging that much. Yeah, the grade value is just not there no more. In my opinion, I'll probably keep on to Michael Porter Jr. as he comes on with us. Let's see, Clay Thompson return. Oh, they might be cooking. They might just be cooking. And I want to say a Clay Thompson return. That's just cinematic right there. Now, does that lead to wins? I don't think so because Golden State Warriors. I know they are they above 500 now. Golden State Warriors. Okay, maybe I should put record. Yeah, AC down. Uh, only three losses behind Trailblazers. I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not looking good. Even if they traded what's his name, Kumbucket? Oh, excuse me, Kuminga. I just don't see it being a push for the Warriors. For one, they're already in the second apron. They paying on Curry, they paying Draymond, they paying Butler, and yet they can't get it done. You can see that they starting to get old, and that's a problem for not only the organization but what they want to do in the future, considering that they about to use one of their young assets. Now, I'm not a fan of the Jimmy Butler and Curry sweepstakes because I at first I didn't think that was gonna work, and then when Butler and Draymond, I always wondered how that was a fit leaning on the defensive side, and I seen a bit of sloppy moments when they both on the court. But one thing I can say, even if they was to trade for Klay Thompson or Michael Porter Jr., it's not giving them no more than the 7th seed. Only because the Phoenix Suns been looking real deep. They actually been playing explosive, and as much as I hated Dylan Brooks is actually looking like a all star. The Rockets, you still gotta get through Kevin Durant, Amen Thompson, and even Sagoon. But depending on how they look in the playoffs, sometimes they look like chokers. Sometimes they look like they go Lakers. I mean, no defense. I mean, you probably could have probably a good 6 game series, but they too deep. Minnesota, they look like they found their groove. Spurs, Nets, Denver Nuggets. I mean, you have to play against Jokic, probably the MVP if he didn't get injured. And long story short, even without him, they playing at least a little bit okay. I mean, they won 3 games back to back, but when it comes to them, it's not only a fit thing, but the Warriors ain't got no center to go against Jokic. I mean, maybe they could put Draymond in a little Alex Caruso situation when they played them in the playoffs last year. But even then, that's not even going to do any favors. Especially they traded Kuminga for, let's just say, Klay Thompson. Maybe got now a new sharpshooter or so-called old sharpshooter. But even then, that's still not doing nobody no favors because it's not getting y'all past it. And then OKC Thunder. Let's just be honest. Nobody is probably being known. They probably coming out the West. But then again, who knows? Considering what they've been going through against the Spurs, and in their last, I believe, 10 games, they didn't lost 5 of them. But that's neither here or there. They're not competing with them. And not even to mention the Clippers are coming on to a run, but they too far deep into what they into, and I don't know about Kawhi's situation, but yeah, he demanded a trade. And I can't say I did not see this coming, only because of what him and Steve Kerr been going to. It seemed like they've been bumping heads from his side of camp to Steve Kerr's side of camp. What Steve Kerr said about wanting Wagner instead of him, that kind of like throws out there. And I could say right now, I'm not a big fan of that. Like when it comes to like coaches and coaches perspective on team, they gotta be like cautious of what they say because it could it could bridge gap between players and coaches relationship because it's too many mouths to feed. One, I know Kuminga thinking that he wants to be this big baller and try to be out there is just not going to be with the Warriors. And unfortunately, that's what happens when you go to a team that's centered around a name like Curry, Bron, KD. You think that that's your team in the future, but if they on a team, they it's really their ball until they leave. And I'm telling you right now, only 11 points per game, uh, 2 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 74 from the free throw. You always been this bad? I ain't gonna lie, that's kind of real. That's not real bad. I mean, no, that's bad. I try to save you, and then you shoot only 32% from the field from three. That right there says a lot. I can see why would say that he wants to be part of his organization, but had the ball more in his hands. Uh, Fortunately, when it comes to a stat like that, most people are not gonna be paying attention, and that's just what it is. But let's see, the third one was yeah, words even get older. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, even if you was to trade Jonathan Kuminga to the Heat, now the Heat could prosper him to a outstanding superstar. But that depends. Like, do you want Norman Powell, who is already aging? I mean, he is averaging pretty good numbers this year. Let's see actually what he's averaging. I can't believe the Clippers really got rid of this guy. He's really showing them out. But yeah, age 32, Miami was playing 30 minutes a night. But he got his career high in 24 points per game. It does sound good on paper, but then once you try to implement him into that system, are we now moving Jimmy Butler to shooting guard or small forward, excuse me, or are we taking the ball out of Curry hands and put it in Norman Powell hands, or how are we utilizing Draymond Green? So there's all this exception that you gotta go through, and if they even try to send him to the Heat, you're not getting a lot bad. Like a first round pick, and Miami always been this stagnated team of being mediocre but good. It just it just seemed like a far fetched. Now the one I kept seeing was Jonathan Kuminga to the Kings. I forgot how to spell Jonathan Kuminga name, but the one thing I kept seeing the Kings they was gonna offer up maybe Malik Monk, and that I think that would be a better fit to the Warriors. You know, somebody off the bench, somebody who's like a J.R. Smith that shoots when ready. Especially knowing the Warriors, they need somebody who can hit that hot streak as soon as they get off to the court. Um, and the Kings finally get their young superstar potentially. Um, I know there's a lot of risk and a lot of Kings fans not really like they're not really like betting on him, but I'm gonna be honest, it's probably the best that y'all got, considering that y'all got old ass DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine that don't even look like he want to be there. Then you got Russell Westbrook, depending on who you're talking to, good night, bad night. Um, and then I guess Dennis Schroeder, you know, unfortunately he got the suspension with Doncic, but It seems like it's that's probably like the only fit, maybe the fit. Yeah, and when I think about this, when I think about Jonathan Kuminga, I always think like athleticism. He is good. I just wish he put his heart more into the game where he could just not only not only catch a loss, but bring it down the court and try to be that LeBron esque. Get to the midi, try to shoot the mid range, go up, explode for the dunk, maybe a high volume layup. But when you see him trying to like post up and do stuff where it's like outside his game, it's never gonna work. Like for instance, let's look up a little bit of his highlights. Only 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Like here, you can see that he got real good explosiveness, but the problem is like that's not all they're gonna ask for. They're gonna ask for more, especially if you're gonna come away from Warriors. And now you got more eyeballs on you versus when they had all eyes on Curry. But hey, that dunk was nice though. Like, ugh, that was nasty. That was pretty sick. But hey man, like I really think he can go out there. Now, if you really want my honest opinion, I honestly believe that he probably could get like an All Star by 2027. That is, if he put his all his eggs in that one basket for that team and actually develop a jump shot and even try to get to the free throw line. Because the athleticism is there, that's not going nowhere. And you could do a lot with athleticism. You could become a 3 and D win scorer, or you could even run a team and try to be like I said LeBron s and or DeRozan s, try to get to the paint and either hit a fadeaway or use your athleticism for a quick dunk. But that right there, I, I ain't gonna lie, that was a little buckety. But yeah, all in all, I think Jonathan Kuminga is okay. He does have to find himself off the Warriors, but until then, he'll be traded by Thursday. Let's just call it for what it is. He's gonna be traded by Thursday. Cause I think that's when the deadline opens up. But if he's not traded by Thursday, he's definitely gonna be traded by the deadline. And one thing I can say is potential teams: Bulls, maybe, Sacramento. I don't see him going to the War, or is he already on the Wars? I don't see him getting on a Minnesota. Maybe Memphis, but we gotta see what they do with John Morant. And it already look like he packed his bags to Miami, so we'll see. I wanted to add this, but Bryce, 43 points coming off the bench. Hey man, let your name be known. Cause when it comes to a lot of jazz content, I don't really get to see it, especially being out here on the East Coast. You know, we gotta have a bedtime at a certain point, and for them, it usually end their games around like 1:30 in the morning, maybe 2 o'clock, depending on like how many timeouts they be calling. But I want to say, Bryce put them on notice, and I want to say, congrats to the Chicago Bulls. They are coming alive a lot. One thing I have noticed that they have been winning a little bit more, and that's what a lot of people like to see. Unfortunately, they still down by a lot. They still got the Hawks, the Heat. That's like only a 2 game sample size from them, but they still need at least about 5 more wins just to get into like the fourth, fifth or fourth range conversation. Other than that, then you had the Cleveland Cavaliers, wishy washy, not here or there, but you know, all I can think about is that meme. The lights are too bright, but yeah, Rocket. You got the Raptors versus Pacers again. Raptors, not too much on to talk about. Not really gonna have a lot going on. I mean, I like to see Scotty Barnes do a lot more, but he doing what he can do, and that's most important. We talked about the Kings, who actually got the win over the Knicks. The Knicks has been confusing as well on this year. It's been kind of like they good, but they're not good enough. Same thing for the Nuggets. I just don't see them going to get them. Clippers, they coming above. It'd be interesting to see if they go for them. But throughout all their little circumstances outside of the NBA, I don't think they're going to try to make a move. Yeah, I really don't know where Kuminga could go. I mean, I don't see him going to the Hornets. I don't see him going to the Wizards. Bucks maybe, but what would the Bucks even have to offer? Maybe Bobby Portis at that. I don't think that's going to help Giannis' case out. Magic no, 76ers no, Raptors no, Celtics no, Knicks they not even trying to trade anybody right now. Pistons no, at the same time no. Yeah, nobody really out east. Well, I say let's see west. Yeah, nothing but the Kings. I don't know. He'll be alright where he goes. It just are he is he gonna wait for the growth to just come to him, or is he just gonna let him like ride his wave thinking he's all that, and then eventually he out the league. I don't think on option two really gonna be in the play. I really think it's gonna be option one the whole time. He really is gonna try to get his own team though, which is fair. You know, that's one thing you have to have in the NBA. You have to have that killer mentality and actually go for it. But if he does and he has seen it, hey, come back to this video. But if you don't, don't come back to this video. All in all, best team out there. Let's go Hornets.